What is up, guys? Josh here with Finishing. We are on episode 3 of the Q&A series. If you guys are new, I will be dropping the questions down in the description box. Hit the description box to skip ahead. There'll be time slots on where I answer each of those questions asked. So you can go to the description box and see what I'm answering. So check that out. Don't forget to hit subscribe so you guys can check out all my furniture flips, my Q&As, my home improvement stuff. Just go check it out. I think you'll like it. Let's get into it with question number 1. Alright, so question number 1 is from Jack. He says, what is the best furniture to flip? You know, that's a pretty broad question, Jack. I think in terms of profit, tables are probably your best way to go. No, easiest, if that's what you mean, I would have to say like maybe some coffee tables, some flat coffee tables. Modern furniture has really sharp square edges, really simple woodworking, not a lot of trim or moldings or anything like that you can work with real easy. So that's obviously something easy to work with. But yeah, so I guess let's get into it. The easiest and the one with the best profit margins, I would say, kind of the winner of all categories, I would have to say a nice big 6-chair dinner table that has no chairs with it and a really simple design. So they have these simple dinner tables. You can find them all over the internet. Some of them are circles, some of them are ovals. You can kind of find the rectangle ones, but the older furniture mostly went with the rounder look. So pretty much circles and ovals is what you're looking for. The reason I say that is because one, with chairs, you have to worry about doing all the spindles on that and all the turned legs and everything. That's just a lot of sanding and prep. But the table itself has bigger legs on it, so you can get in those crevices, sand them out super quick and easy. I have a tool that I use. You can use wire wheels, stuff like that, to sand that out. Super simple. But once you get that down, all the rest of it is simply sanding that flat top flush. And, that's super simple. Like, you don't have a bunch of edges to go around. You don't have this and that. But you can simply just take the time to sand the entire surface, get it down flat and even, get the paint off or the stain or whatever, and reapply. And your overhead for it honestly ends up being the same, maybe a little more, but I highly doubt it, as your typical coffee tables and stuff like that. So profit margin wise, and being able to sell a table sells faster than, a coffee table. I would say a dinner table is easier to sell. So all in all, I would say a dinner table is the best one. Let's move on to question number 2. All right, so question number 2 is from Alex. What is my favorite stain brand? I would have to go with Minwax oil-based, because oil-based stains, I think, have a stronger durability. They don't yellow as much over time. I think water-based, a lot of people choose that because it's an easy cleanup. But, someone like me who has their processes down to a T, oil-based works really good. My cleanup is easy. Once you have a system and it works, you stick with it, and oil-based works for me, so I use it. But Minwax, I've found, has the most variety of colors and just holds really well. And the color variation, you never have a difference between one can and the next, honestly. A lot of people say with some of these homemade stains and even just some brands, they don't, one can might be darker than the next or lighter than the next, either or. I find that Minwax has really held color consistently over time. They have bright colors, dark colors. It's a great stain to work with. Home Depot, I don't know if it's nationwide, but in my area of Kansas, they stopped producing, or selling Minwax products in Home Depot stores, so I have to drive a little bit farther to get them from different stores, but that is my favorite brand, hands down. Let's get on to question number 3. Question number 3 is from Kelsey. She says, how do people do custom wipe-on polys? Because she's seen people doing it out of squirt bottles, like they make it on their own, and they do. You don't have to go and spend the extra money to make to get a wipe-on poly. So you can actually make your own. I've worked with water-based polys before, but I've never done it in the wipe-on method. I don't know if there's a different mixture, and hopefully you guys can answer that in the comments of what goes into that. But since I use oil-based stains, I do oil-based polys as well. So my favorite brand is the Minwax Poly Clear Satin, I believe, which is an oil-based product. They do have water-based, I believe. You have to read the can on that. But I use a half and half, a 1 part to 1 part mixture of mineral spirits and the poly. And I make sure to mix those real evenly, and then I put them in an old soap bottle of Dawn to use as my wipe on. So just make sure you mix 1 part, 1 part. Make sure you mix it really well. Try not to shake the bottle though, because you don't want that stuff fizzing and foaming. You're going to get bubbles and everything like that. But make sure it's mixed real well. Try not to let it build up over time. If you let that stuff sit there, that solid stuff gets at the bottom of the bottle and doesn't mix real well with the rest. So try and mix small batches at a time, so that way you can use a good mixture on every layer you do. Hope that answers your question, Kelsey. Let's get on to question number 4. Alright, question number 4 is from Chad. What is my favorite polyurethane? Back to question number 3. That is the Minwax Clear Satin polyurethane. It's an oil-based product. I think it applies really well. It's a fast-drying product. If you're still new in the game and you still like to really pay attention to how you put your coats on, I would suggest not getting the fast-drying poly, because that might cure before you get a chance to alter it. So I would suggest, if you're a new guy, probably just getting the regular stuff. Minwax does have brands that aren't fast drying, or types of poly that aren't fast drying. But I use the fast drying poly, Clear Satin. It doesn't yellow very much over time, and it's extremely durable that I've found. It's held up against a lot of weathering and wear and tear. So that's my favorite poly. Hope that answers your question. Hope you try that out. It'll work great for you. You can use it for a wipe on. You can spray it if you thin it down, probably. And then you can also just brush it on as well. So let's get on to question number 5. Alright, question number 5, the last question, guys. This one's from Ashley. How do you match putty? I am having difficulty getting the correct color. So I'm assuming what she's doing is going out and buying different colors, which you can do in certain circumstances. Like, they have different colors like walnut, or like a dark brown, white, gray, yellow even. But in my last video, in episode 2, if you did not catch it, maybe episode 1, but I talk about how I make my own putty out of sawdust and glue. Now, if you don't want to do that, if you want to do an actual putty, I would suggest finding one that says on the actual canister that it can be stained. The reason I say that is because when you go get that canister that can be stained, get a white color, just white base, or maybe even a gray base, but I would say a white base, because this is what I do. White base, and then you can stain it with the same stain that you're using on the wood. And honestly, that's about as good as you can get it. That's as close as you can get it. If it comes out a little lighter, maybe do another little bit of stain layers on that and just get it really in there. Maybe even use, like if you're doing like a dark walnut stain, maybe go with more of a coffee stain that's like just a tint darker than the walnut, and that might help darken it up to match your wood a little bit. But it's all kind of trial and error. But I would say using a stainable putty, a white putty that you can stain to match your wood is probably the best bet. So that wraps it up, guys. That's episode 3. We'll be coming out with episode 4 real soon. Don't forget to hit subscribe, hit like, go down in the description if you want to see some more, or all the questions, and scroll back, whatever. Hope to see you guys soon. Peace out.